Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this wise macrame owl pendant, and this is what it looks like. So I just used some grey cord here and then added some beads in for a bit of embellishment and a bit of personality as well, and then I just attached them onto a chain. So if you want to learn how to make him, then keep watching. So these are the materials that we'll need. First of all, here we need a cord. This is a 0.9mm s-lon cord that I'm working with. You can use whatever you want to and you have handy. A 1mm would also work well for this. And then we need our beads as well here. Now these are two different sizes. The first ones are the larger ones. These are 6 Miyuki seed beads. And this colour is just silver lined ruby that I'm using. Obviously you can use whatever colour combinations of all of it that you want to. So you can use these or 4mm rounds or rondelles or something like that. And then the other beads here are 8 Miyuki seed beads, and this specific colour is a matte opaque cobalt AB. So again, just the colour that I'm using. So the larger ones are going to be the eyes, and the smaller ones here are going to kind of be the embellishments on the side. And then finally here I just have some jump rings, just to be able to kind of finish it off and attach it to a chain. So these ones are 7mm ones, but you can really use whatever you have that'll fit. So let's get it all together and let's get started. And then we'll need some cords to start out with here, and what I have is 7 lengths of about 60 centimeters each. Each of these cords are then going to get doubled over and turn into 2 working lengths of cord. And then finally the cord that we're going to attach the other lengths to is just a length like this. So all I've done is taken my cord and folded it over to about probably 15 to 20 centimeters long, doesn't need to be very much, and folded it 3 times. So we have 3 cords basically, but made of the same length. And then I've just tied a knot on each end to hold it together and be able to attach this to my board. So we're going to start off with this and attach the other cords to this. So I then took that length of cord that I just showed you with the knots on there and attached that onto my project macrame board that I'm working on using the T-pins. So that makes it much easier to work with this. So like I said, what we need to do is take the other lengths of cord, the longer ones that we cut off, and we're just going to do one at a time and attach them to these. So I've just folded the cord over in half, just like that, put the ends together. Then I have this loop up here that I'm keeping hold of, and then I want to use a lark's head knot to attach it. So I'm going to lift up the cords on the board there, so the holding cords, push this underneath, and then bring it back over the top, put your fingers through it, and then pull the tails through the loop there. And then pull it up and you can see you get this little shape, and then pull it tight, and then that is your lark's head knot. And just push it to the side. And then you want to go through and attach all the other cords in the exact same way. So now I have all the cords attached here using the lark's head knot placed right next to each other, and you can see from each original cord they've now turned into 2 working lengths. So now what we need to do is start the first work here, the first few knots, and what I'm going to do is split this into 2 groups because we're kind of going to work on one side at a time. So just straight down the middle. So that means 7 lengths of cord here on each side, and I'm going to start working on one side and then we just need to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to start here on the left side and just put the others out of the way for now so we don't get mixed up. And then you want to start on the very outside, so separate your cords out, grab the very outer one, just like that, and then I need to use this as a first holding cord, so that means bringing it in over all the other cords. Make sure the other cords are coming out underneath it. And then we need to make some knots here. So I'll grab the very next cord. You can also see your cords are naturally coming out to each their own side, so just keep them separated that way. Grab the very next one you run into. Then I want to make a double half hitch. So the one coming underneath is the working cord. So take that around the finger, around the holding cord there, and back through. So you get basically a 6 looping around. Just like that, and then tighten this all the way up to where it won't go any further. Do that again, and then that's a double half hitch, just like that. And then grab the very next cord, do the same thing, make a double half hitch around your finger and through the loop. And what we're doing is basically building a row underneath the first row of knots that we did when we attached the cords. And we're working our way in towards the middle, making these double half hitches, and then as we're gradually getting further and further towards the middle, I also want to change direction a little bit. I'm just going to do one more here, double half hitch, And then I have right now 2 cords left on this side here. So in this case, I want to start pulling this row downwards a little bit in the midsection. And the way you do that is by just the direction you hold your holding card in will determine what direction the row is going to go in. So I'm going to pull this downwards a little bit, just like that, and tighten it. You can see gradually getting downwards a bit there from below the previous row. Same thing with the last card, and then a bit further down in the middle, just to get a nice shape in place there. So that's the one side. Now what we need to do is do the exact same thing on the other side. So obviously it's all the same things that I just showed you, just kind of mirrored. So you start from the right and work your way in towards the middle until the 2 rows basically meet up right next to each other. So now we have both sides done there. You can see the 2 holding cords from each side are kind of now wanting to cross over in the middle, and we have the shape in place. So this is kind of basically the top of the eye, almost like the eyebrows you could say. Now what I'm just going to do is I just want to add in my beads here, because just to get it ready, because we then need to start making the next row, which is going to encase the bead. So again, I'm just working on one side at a time, and what I'm doing is, if you just take the holding cord a bit away, look at the working cords that we used. So we're not going to take the very last one, we're going to take the next one in from the middle, and that's the one I'm going to add my bead onto. So it's going to sit just like that. I'm just going to let it drop down there while I then start on the next row, which we then basically do the same thing to create this little eye. So I take the very outer one to the left again, bring that over, all the others in towards the middle. Just as I said, do this side first and then we'll go to the other side, so just put the other ones out of the way. And then grab the very next cord, the one that's coming right underneath, that's the next one there. That's going to be the working cord. And then we want to start making double half hitches again. So around your finger and through the loop, and then tighten that up. And now what we need to make sure of is that again, we're getting a bit of a shape in this row as well. So I don't want these knots to be tightened right below the previous row, because obviously you can see that we need to fit the bead in place. So we got to make sure to account for that as we're making this row. So we kind of want it to come downwards a little bit and then come and meet up with the inner corner there of the eye, you could say. A bit of curve again, but in the opposite direction as the one above the bead. Just keep grabbing the next working cord, and then make a double half hitch, and then grab the next one. This is then the one with the bead, so now this is going to probably be encased and fastened in place, so it's not going to be moving anymore. And the last one to meet up, and this you want to make sure to pull nice and tight so the 2 corners or ends of the rows there are going to meet up properly in the middle, and you don't really want a big gap or anything. So just like that. And then just to finish off with, we have the holding cord from the previous row coming out as the next one. All you're going to do with that is bring it underneath the current holding cord and use this, just use it as the last working cord in this row to basically close up the gap nicely. Just like that. And you double half hitch here. And there we go. So that's basically the eye done on one side. And again, just like before, we just gotta repeat the exact same thing on the other side, but just mirrored. So just move these cords you just used out of the way, go to this side and start from the opposite side. So the outer one here, bring that over, that's your next holding cord, add your bead, remember that, and then do the same row underneath there. And then you'll have both eyes in place. So there you can see that's now the other side done as well. We have both eyes in place. So now we need to start basically on the body, so obviously below the eyes. And again, we're going to be working from side to side with the whole piece. What we've ended up with now are the 2 holding cords here in the middle, again wanting to cross over just like before. So just separate the cords out again to make sure they don't get tangled up. And then I'm going to go back to the outside, doesn't matter what side you start on really. I'm just going to take the outer one, bring it over all the others, again as the holding cord. And then I'm going to take 1 cord at a time here and make a new row of knots. And this one is going to go straight below the previous one, so right below the bottom of the eye. And just do this all the way in towards the middle, including the holding cord here as well. And then obviously do the same thing on the other side, working your way from that side in towards the middle. And then we need to connect the 2 rows as well. So get to that point and then I'll show you how we do that. So now I have both rows here, one on each side. You can see the 2 holding cords are now meeting in the middle again, and they haven't attached them yet, because what we're going to do is use a double half hitch to attach them. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left one and bring that underneath my right one. How you do that doesn't matter what direction, just as long as you make sure to stay consistent throughout. Then remember, the one that's coming underneath is always the working cord and the other one is the holding cord. So I'm going to make a double half hitch with these 2 now to basically just connect the 2 rows together. And there we go, they're now connected. So now what we have to do is start the next row, but here's when I just want to add a little bit of embellishment into these as well. So to do that, we're going to again make some more rows, but before I start making them, I want to add some beads to the sides. So what I do is I take the very outer one again, that's going to be the next holding cord, and that's the one I just want to add a bead onto. So that's one of the 8/0s here. So let that drop all the way down, bring the cord over the others, and then all you do is start making your next row with your double half hitches, grabbing 1 cord at a time. And then you can see as I'm going to tighten this, it's just going to trap that bead in place right on the outside there at the very beginning of the row. But otherwise you just continue making the rest of the row in the exact same way. So taking 1 cord at a time, working your way all the way in to the middle again. And I just thought adding those beads on the sides adds a bit more embellishment and personality to it. Grabbing 1 cord at a time here. And then also as I get to the middle, then, because we've attached the 2 previous rows together, we then now need to use the last cord that's naturally coming in this direction. That was the one from the other side previously. But just incorporate that as well, because then this is the final one in this row. And then all you do is go to the other side, grab the outer cord there, remember to add your bead, and then just repeat this. So make your row here, attach the 2 in the middle. You want to do another one under this so we have 2 beads on each side. So then we have both of these rows with beads in the beginning in place. As you can see, we then have kind of the body underneath the eyes done on both sides, and we also connected all the rows together. So now we need to kind of swap direction a little bit in how we're making the rows. So what I'm going to do is again still work from side to side, do 1 side at a time. Then to start the new row, I'm going to leave out the first 2 cords out here on this side, and then I'm going to work with these ones first of all. So I'm going to grab the very outer one of this group that I've got now, and I'm going to use this as my first holding cord, bring that over the others. And then otherwise we're just basically going to do the same thing. So grab the very next cord coming underneath, and then do your double half hitch to build up the next row. Like that, and grab the next cord here. Working your way again, still in towards the middle. And now changing the direction here, it's just going to make it look slightly different. Give a bit more, again, some personality to it, and a bit of a different shape. And grab the very middle one. Just like that. So that was that side. Now, I'm going to move over to the other side and do exactly the same thing. So first of all, separate out the outer 2 cords, and then grab the very next one in. Just like that. And bring that over the others in towards the middle. And then repeat the same as we did on the other side. So make your row here, going inwards and a bit downwards here. Making 1 double half hitch at a time. Making sure to always grab the very next cord so you don't cross them over. Just like that. Almost at the middle. And then here what we now have again are the 2 holding cords, one from each side that I wanted to cross over. So I'm going to let them, making sure I cross them over in the same direction as I did all the other times, just for consistency. And then do a double half hitch to connect these rows again. Just to make it a whole piece rather than kind of 2 separate halves. Just like that. So that's kind of the beginning of the next part here. And then to start the next rows, what we're going to do is go back again from side to side. So I'll just go back to my left one first, and we're going to take the next card outward. So the next one of the two that we left out, so we still have the outer one left, that's going to be at the end. So now I grab that one, bring it over all the others here pointing downwards, and that's the next holding card. And all you do is make another row right kind of below the previous one that we just made. Just doing your double half hitches. So again, do this all the way till the middle, and then you swap over to the other side. Do exactly the same thing, grab the next card out of the two that you left out, make them meet up in the middle of the two rows, and then connect them together in the exact same way again as well. And then once you've done that, then get into the next point where we also kind of need to start thinking about finishing it off. So get to there, and then I'll show you that part. So then we're at this point here, as you can see, and we have all the cards kind of come out to each their own side like this. So I want to do one more row on each side, but this is also where I want to finish it a bit cleaner. So instead of having the cards coming out to the side, we need to kind of bring them in and also have them coming out towards the bottom there to also be able to finish it off. So like I said, we have one card left on the very outer side that we left out before we started these two rows here. This is now the one we need to take. Same principle, bring it over all the others, and then start out your row by making another double half hitch here, just like before. And there we go. And now where it's a bit different here, so because we want to finish off these cards, you could say, nicely, so have a nice neat edge, what I'm going to do, instead of leaving this and going to the next card, I'm actually going to, the working card that I just used, bring that in with the holding card. So now we basically have two holding cards. And then we just grab the very next working card, and the holding cards now act, even though there's two, they kind of just act as one. So we just grab the next working card, make your double half hitch around both of the holding cards, and tighten that all the way up. So there we go. And now we made that knot, so we need to use this working card that we just used and bring that in with the holding cards. So we now have three. Again, grab your next working card and make your next knot. Like that. And again, bring that in. So we're just now gradually getting more and more holding cards here. Kind of bringing them together in a group, you could say. And again, also working our way in towards the middle with them, which is where we want them to finish off anyway. So that's great. And then obviously we finish it off with a nicer and neat edge, rather than having to get rid of a load of cards there on the edge. And then I have one left, so just do that one as well. Make your last double half hitch, and there we go. And then we have that whole group of all the new holding cards, you could say. So that's the one side. Basically now what you want to do is the exact same thing on the other side. Take the outer one and then make your row, gradually bringing in the working card you just used every time until you get to the same point as this side. So now I did the other side as well here, and you can see the two groups are now meeting in the middle, coming straight downwards. And that's exactly what we want, to also get a bit of a tail on it, if you could call it that. So I'm going to just have them coming straight down, and we have the two cards coming straight out to the side, because that was the last working card on each side. So what I'm going to do is just take advantage of them and use these to kind of fasten all these holding cards together and finish it all off. So all I'm going to do is make a square knot. So I just take one of the lengths over all these holding cards, make sure to grab all of them here, and we then take the other one to go over that and underneath all of them, and then come up through the loop. So just a regular square knot here, and then tighten this all the way up underneath the very end of the rows, just like that. Tighten it nicely, and then finish off the square knot by making the other half by starting from the other side, again making sure you grab all the cards. And then what I just want to do, because depending what card you use, it's going to be a bit different, because I'm just going to make the square knot and then it's pretty much more or less done. But for extra security, also durability, also to finish it off here, I'm just going to grab a little bit of glue. This is just a GS Hypo Cement. It dries clear, and I just want to put a little bit right in here, basically on the holding cards. So this is going to be in the place where the other half of the knot that we're making right now is going to be tightened on top of. So I'm not adding too much, I just want to add a little bit, and a little bit on the back as well. It's just too risky. If you're just making the one square knot and not adding the glue, you could maybe risk it coming undone, depending what type of cord you're using. But this will definitely help prevent that. So just like that. And then I'm just going to re-tighten the first half to make sure it's tight, and then tighten the other half here on top of that little bit of glue that I added, and pull that really nice and tight. So there we go. Now obviously you want to let that dry for a bit. Otherwise what we can do now as well is take all this off the board, because we're pretty much done with it all now, just the final little touches. So basically these are going to just be cut off to the length that you want them to be. So you can cut them quite long or quite short. You could also add some beads to the end of them if you wanted to for a little bit extra embellishment. That's completely up to you. I'm just going to cut them to about this length here to finish those off completely. Then as for the other cords here that we just used to tie that square knot with, I'm going to get rid of them by taking my scissor and then cutting them down, so I have about a couple of millimeters left right there at the end. Just like that. And then I'm going to take a lighter here. So this is using a naked flame, so be careful because it gets hot. But what I'm then going to do is just singe the very end down that I left. Singe it down and then just squeeze it in. So just do that with your finger, or you can use the actual lighter itself if you think it might get a bit too hot. So that finishes off the cord nicely, but also kind of seals the very end in place. You could also do this without adding the glue and just use this as a security. I just liked a little tiny bit of glue there just for that extra bit of security and durability in the long run. Same thing here on the other side. Cut that off and again singe that down. Obviously you can only do this if you have a synthetic cord. So like what this is, if it's a natural cord you're using, you'll have to cut them down, glue the actual knot in place with the ends, and then cut the excess off. But then like I said, cut these to the length that you want them to. And then also up here, I'm just going to cut off the excess of the cord, the original kind of tripled holding cord there that we attached all the cords to. However long you want, these are going to kind of be the ears, you could say. So however long you want them, and they're going to kind of flip out just like that. And then once you've done that, that'll be the final piece. And all that's left to do will be attach the jump ring. For that, all I'm going to do is just explain where I'm going to do it. I usually like it here on the back. The original lark's head knots you can see here. What I like to do is go to the very middle one, open obviously my jump ring, get the very end of my jump ring in through those cords, just like that. So basically in through the knot, and then close at the jump ring, and that's where it's going to sit and hang really nicely right from the midpoint there. And obviously you can attach another one and attach it to whatever kind of chain that you want to. So that's how I'm going to finish this off. So here's the little guy then, and then I've just added him onto a chain, simple silver chain, and then it looks like that. And then the back looks like that. So a really cute little wise owl. So quite a simple and easy one to do, also quite quick as well once you get going. So that's how you make it. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial here for this little owl, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make these butterflies on a core running down the middle there, and that's what it looks like. So this one I've made, in this case I've just turned into a bracelet length. So it'd be nice, you can have all these butterflies going around your wrist. You can obviously make them smaller if you want to by using a different type of cord. So then I've just attached clasp and extender chain by using cord ends as well. You can finish off yours however you want to. But then there you have your butterflies going all the way